said.
He writes chose to avoid a confrontation.
In the midst of confrontation, she found clarity.
An armed confrontation
with the staff. She seems to be
clearly forcing a
confrontation might be a foregone conclusion, my lord.
It has also led to intense confrontation and perhaps
on the Federation and could widen the confrontation.
Confrontation you had with your wife the night that she was murdered.
You provoked this?
I don't want to be confrontation, okay, but I want to see him tomorrow. You agree?
among those killed during a confrontation between.
Confrontation with a doorman.
Sid, I'm still your friend, Sid.
He writes about confrontation, but in real life, he avoids it.
Brother, here we go.
You know, I always thought that you chose to avoid a confrontation with my fiancé, like I wasn't worth the trouble.
The man threatened to...
Que sea la última vez, Cristina. In the midst of confrontation, she found clarity.
possible terms that they risk taking us to the brink of an armed confrontation with incalculable consequences for all mankind.
Resisting her medication as well. Very confrontational with the staff. She seems to be getting worse.
I was afraid of that.
There's some kind of corporate maneuvering going on, Max. Hackett is clearly forcing a confrontation. That would account for his behavior at the stockholders' meeting. However,
quite optimistic to me. Maybe they do want to fight.
Confrontation might be a foregone conclusion, my lord. But nonetheless, I think we should...
And nearly paralyzed the White House staff. It has also led to intense confrontation and perhaps a constitutional crisis with Senate investigators.
And Queen Amidala is returning home, which will put pressure on the Federation and could widen the confrontation.
And draw out the Queen's attacker.
Go with the Queen.
Mr. Dufresne, describe the confrontation you had with your wife the night that she was murdered.
Don't trust it in a cheap surgeon. Now, it was you who provoked this confrontation, sir.
You're an incredibly insensitive woman, Miss Kimberly.
I have to see you again. He's mine. He's special. I don't want any confrontation, okay, but I want to see him tomorrow. You agree?
Come, we made an agreement with him. Just let him come train the robot.
11 Wakandans were among those killed during a confrontation between the Avengers and a group of mercenaries in Lagos, Nigeria.
And for all of Africa.
Negotiation has replaced confrontation.
Paul, have a drink.
Friendship has replaced fear.
That's a dandy.
What happened? Confrontation with a doorman.
Confrontation? Jesus.
He just happens to be my supervisor, and I'm afraid I'm just not very good at confrontations. The car, Dad.
Jobs.
We no longer have a capture option. Any action
on the ground will lead to an armed confrontation, which we will not be able to contain.
They're watching.
If not impotent, then at least reluctant. Now, the United States finds itself in such bitter confrontation with the Soviet Union over that country's invasion of Afghanistan
to the Russians.
That
not all confrontations will be one-on-one as now practice sessions.
I was not aware we were practicing such a scenario.
There are never warnings.
Hazel's enough with Sammy and Caden's enough with Hazel. There would be a big confrontation where Caden turns to me and says, "It's obvious he's a substitute for me."
I do not want trouble for our ongoing efforts. You will not stir up confrontations with Turkey because of the Bedouins. They are feuding amongst them.
Your objectives is more important than trying to present your ideas in a non-confrontational manner.
Do you have experience in an office?
Myself.
Sure that we can work out an arrangement which will be mutually beneficial and enable us to avoid any unpleasant confrontation. As a token of my goodwill.
Aims and Pew are opposites, right? Haynes is a criminal's criminal, armed robbery, man-on-man confrontation. Pew, on the other hand, has a rap sheet littered with manslaughter.
We had one minor little argument years ago about that, in which you blew up into a major confrontation, and I can't get it off your mind.
Do you ever have the urge to sleep with a whore?
Try not to be too confrontational.
Huh? Confrontational? Me? What do you mean?
Let me just see if I left anything.
I told you she was going to act this way.
Why do you have to be confrontational all the time? Can't you see? She only wants to help.
So the theory of confrontations is now think twice before messing with me.
Anymore, so it'll just work itself out naturally.
We always like to avoid confrontation whenever possible. Problem is solved from your end.
I'd like to...
Yes and no. I was mostly back.
Anything odd? Confrontation with a customer, anything?
No, she was herself. She was happy.
Если работа остается не сделанной, люди берут справку.
What will surely be an historic confrontation. Let us now resume the story from the point at which you descended the ladder. Madame Arlena decided to avoid a confrontation and was about to leave the beach when she noted...
Harper was brought in to replace Modal and bring a swift end to this confrontation.
Himmler's not here.
Transfer of 3 divisions to...
Against the shepherd boy from the Urals who poaches wolves. It's more than a confrontation between two nations.